Welcome back, everybody. As I was saying in the pre-show, it is July. Our corn is far higher than knee-high. That has always been the judge of a good corn crop in the East Coast, as if it's knee-high by July. We're going to be topping off the cows. We've got harvest to do today. We've already topped off some of our production. And I have... No, I think I'm good. I think I'm moving my tea over there. Well, there are videos, indeed, to help you out with precision farming. I did 3 or 4 of them. In my how-to playlist. Let me go see if I can pull one up for you. How to play precision farming. It's a 4-part series.
Using tremendous pressure, we'll crush M&M's peanut butter into
a diamond.
Stop.
We're not talking about M&M's, okay?
Did you say crush?
The demand for proficient...
Just stop, okay? Jeez, dude. Share this video. That is part 1 of a 4-part series. All 4 parts should be linked in the description. That will be just about everything you ever needed to know about precision farming. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that has ever published in their video what all of the soil maps look like. I may be wrong. Should also be a chart there breaking down the various soil types and crop types and nitrogen needs and pH needs and all of that fun jazz. The short story is just let everything be on auto, and that takes a lot of the difficult math out of things. There are 4 soil maps that are a part of the precision farming mod, although technically there's only 3. There's a generic soil map, there's a Elm Creek soil map, there is then the soil map that is also part of Holt-Belleroon, which technically is the default soil map. And then there is a soil map for Erlengrot. We should run through the placeables that are part of the pack. What you need to know with respect to seeding, fertilizing with organic fertilizer as well as mineral fertilizers, pH, and then the environmental factor bonuses and all of that. John Deere Sims, what's up? Long time no see. Long time no see. It's okay. We broke it down, 4 sections. Take your time with it. Obviously, you can always come back and watch more. But honestly, once you get it, it makes gameplay easier. Once you get it, I feel it makes gameplay just a bit easier. Where are we at? I think we got. Let's just do one more load. One more load real fast, then while you're going. For example, right, default game, you have 2 stages of fertilization. So you have to go through and fertilize 2 times. With precision farming, you can set it on auto and fertilize just once. Because the system will automatically apply the required amount of fertilizer to get you up to the preferred nitrogen level of that specific crop for that specific soil type. Right, so that kind of makes the game easier because it's just one pass. Oh, I wanted to update you. I think I figured out all my problems with straw harvest and specifically with the pellets. When we were granted early access to straw harvest for release, they provided us with a download, obviously. Well, the initial download they provided us had an issue, specifically with the pellet and the conveyor belt. Now, the issue was that the pellet and conveyor belt wouldn't connect. I never tried the original download. I downloaded the original download, but before I had a chance to try it out, they had given us an update. But the update was also version 1.0. Well, I noticed the other day after the live stream, and I went and I looked and just to see if any mods needed updating. Straw Harvest said it needed an update. So I'm like, what? Straw Harvest not been updated. So I updated it just for funsies, and I think I figured out what was going on. I think, as I said, I must have not overwritten all my copies of the original download that I got that was broken. And I must have somehow copied that broken original download into this folder when I started using Straw Harvest the other day. But the version that I used for all of the videos about Straw Harvest was the corrected version in a different mod folder. So, one downfall of having multiple mod folders is sometimes you get things out of order. I think that's what happened here. So with that, I wanted to make sure to come clean, let everybody know that I think my issues, possibly with the baler, probably not, but definitely with the pellets and the belt, was probably 100% because I was using a known broken version by accident. And with that said, this video is brought to you by Jimmy Anderson and Scooter's Workbench. Thank you for being farm barons. All right, let's go to town. Man, I wish my wheat was taller. Liftable bales. Let me look. I don't think so. I will read off all of the known issues. Once I find it. All right, as of today, from the Creative Mesh Discord. Issues with Straw Harvest. Bale collect 12:30. Middle bale sometimes sticks and is dragged after unloading. So we know that. We've seen that happen, where the center bale off the bale collector will get pulled forward after you unload the 3 bales. Auto unload bale collect key binding not in help menu on consoles, so that's a known issue. No snow on the barns. Pallet mover of indoor crane makes pallet loose connect. Makes pellet. I don't understand what that says. Straw bales turn into straw pellets when put into a feed mixer. Pellet heat plant output is too low. Krone Big Pack 1290 HPD2 and Bale Collect sometimes make the whole vehicle combination fly. Yes, they do. We have seen this firsthand. Conflicts. The work camera mod. Enhanced animal system. Says loading screen stuck. REA 22 wheels. Small wheels acting up. Bale Collect 1230 not unloading properly. Universal autoload. Bale stuck on Bale Collect 1230. Detaching bale shredder makes shredder and Primos 5000 jump, especially with manual attach. Sometimes picking up Primos 5000 stuck in weird angle. Twine add-on and net wrap add-on. That's what we're using. Balers don't fill with twine. Needed to be filled up twice. Well, I had reported that. That's not exactly the behavior I was seeing. I was seeing that I had to fill the baler both with the net wrap add-on wrap and the wrap from Straw Harvest. So I had to basically fill it twice. But I didn't have an issue where I couldn't fill the baler. Sea bales. Error and freeze issues when filling baler 100% with twine. And selectable bale capacity add-on. High capacity bales not working with Primos 5000. That is the pellet. Press, error, and crash. So I don't see anything listed about liftable bales. But it's possible it's not been reported to them that there's a problem with liftable bales. I would say any mod that has the potential to affect bale behavior would have the potential to cause a side effect or conflict with the mod. Java modes. I literally will cross between a wheel and keyboard like interchangeably as I am driving. While I was reading the issues, I was using a wheel. Typically, if I am in first person, I'll be using the wheel. And if I'm above and behind, I will be using keyboard and mouse or a wheel. So all I can say is if you are a member of the Creative Mesh Discord, to report it. Report your findings. I can say I can post a invite to that Discord if you want. Almost 100% if I'm reversing, I am going to be using keyboard and mouse. In fact, I'm using keyboard and mouse right now. All right, here we go. Right here is the Creative Mesh Discord invite. Have fun with that. But I like to say a unreported problem will never get fixed. Right? So I would assume someone's reported the issue. But I also like to say unless you said something, assume no one else has said it. Right? Way too many times things don't get reported because someone else figures, oh, I'm sure someone else has reported that problem. Well, if everyone thinks someone else has reported it, well, then it never gets reported. As far as the wheel and pedals go, I've had good luck with Thrustmaster products. They've used them for as long as I've ever had a wheel. I initially bought a T150 Pro probably about 6 years ago and used that all the way up until late 2022. And Forza Motorsport broke it with its higher force feedback. It was probably fragile by that point already, based on several years of usage. But Forza Motorsport basically killed it. So right now I'm using a Thrustmaster T300 RS. It's a little bit of a step up from the T150, and I like it a lot. There are others that are using Logitech wheels with good results as well. Oh, that's not good. The wheel and pedal connector cord. T248 is kind of the replacement of the T150. I should have a link in the description toward the bottom to what I'm using. It is an Amazon affiliate link. But it is going to link to the wheel and pedals that I have, as well as some of the other equipment I am making use of. Now, if you've never had a wheel before, we have a gentleman in our Discord that has the Hori bundle. He picked up the Hori bundle. Never used a wheel before. He'd have been a 100% controller player, and he's really enjoying that. That's the Hori heavy equipment bundle that that came out a few months ago. It includes wheel, pedals, and a side panel. That includes a hand throttle and a joystick and a lot of buttons. That bundle, though, is a little costly. But so is the T300 RS. I think the biggest thing is, what are you going to use the wheel for? If you're going to use it exclusively for farm sim, the Hori bundle's okay. The Logitech heavy equipment bundle, I feel it's maybe a little lower quality, but still fine. If you're looking to maybe get into other driving titles, the T248, Logitech G29, was it G9290? Sorry, 920. There's a Logitech 920. Any of the Thrustmaster wheels are going to be universal across many different driving titles. They're going to have force feedback. The Hori bundle and the Logitech heavy equipment bundle, both of those wheels do not have force feedback. They just have what's called a center spring. to where you turn the wheel left and you let go and it springs back to center. Turn the wheel right, let go, and it springs back to the center. It's going to give you some resistance on your turning, but that's about it. Hellhawk, are you talking about the farm sticks or just general Thrustmaster sticks? I have a cheap Logitech joystick that I picked up for Christmas. I did a map review on that map Christmas Eve, John Deere Simulations. Okay, General Logitech joysticks. Or no, Thrustmaster joysticks. The farm stick, that has gotten a lot of good, I think, press, a lot of good coverage, a lot of good comments about it. At least initially when it came out. It's sold out, at least it was sold out last time I looked, so seems like it's in fairly high demand. Either that or they just made one run and are slow to restock. But they also came out with a really nice base to adjust the angle of your Thrustmaster wheel. So the typical driving angle on a wheel and pedal set is fairly vertical, just like the wheel on your car, right? Or the wheel on a racing wheel. Whereas heavy machinery, often that wheel is flatter, right? As opposed to being more at like a 70-degree angle, 80-degree angle, it's often flatter, kind of more at a 15 to 25 degree angle, and that then emulates better a wheel like this, or a wheel on a loader, just to give you another, a little level of realistic feel to it. And that's where the Hori wheel also kind of has a little bit of claim to fame in its lower angle, lower mounting angle. So my understanding is the row crop version of a map, the crops are spaced out. Certain crops are spaced out more. For example, beans. In some locations, you plant beans more in rows than kind of broad spread, or more defined wider rows like corn rows, as opposed to narrow rows like we have with our wheat and barley. I think to harvest, you're fine. You can use anything to harvest, but I think if you want to plant those products back in a row crop version, you need specific row crop planters to do it with. And when I did my video on that map, I explicitly found more problems in the log with the row crop version of the map than the non-row crop version of the map. Pretty sure I'm recalling the map correctly, that I had that observation with. If not, then it was another map I did fairly close to that time frame. So my advice at that time was to not use the row crop version unless you were explicitly dead set on it. Because there were additional Lua errors, other things that you could sell on the non-row crop version, you could not sell on the row crop version because of how things were set up. Maybe the map's been updated since. I don't know. Again, I do not follow anyone, so I would have zero news as to if he has done any updates to that map since he released it or not. I hope he has, because I thought the map had great potential. But even the non-row crop version did have some issues with the log that were noted in that video. Yeah, Hellhawk, I've got the Logitech side panel. I use that sometimes, like, to do camera panning, like this. Because it's got a little joystick on it, and it allows me to do, you know, slow pans. Nice smooth motions. I'll sometimes use this when I'm doing map tours, as opposed to using the mouse, right? Which gets a little jerky. That video came out long before Straw Harvest was released. So I would not have said anything about Straw Harvest during that video. It was the premium expansion with the 3 new crops: beets, not beets, carrots, and parsnips, probably. Supposedly when the premium expansion was activated, there were compatibility problems because I think that map had clover or alfalfa or something as a new as an additional crop. And there was also a fair bit of controversy around that map with respect to his mod pack. And he didn't really take kindly to my opinions on that mod pack, which I thought I was well right to have. It's all laid out in the comments. I don't need to rehash those, but they're all laid out in the comments. I mean, if you wanted to disable Straw Harvest, it works fine. I mentioned earlier that some of the issues that I had on the live stream these last few days were my fault. I discovered that I was using a early access copy of Straw Harvest that had known issues with the pellet press. And the issues I had with the baler and Bale collect were pretty much known issues also, that it does not like elevation changes because the collisions with the bale press and the Bale collector can cause it to just go crazy. Now, it's perfectly fine if you want to wait until Straw Harvest does get an update. I do not know when they are thinking that they may ship an update. But you are perfectly within your rights to wait if you want. Especially if there's any mods on the known issues list that you can't live without. Right? GoldenEye, welcome. How you doing today, sir? How's the weather down there on the coast? Is everybody ramping up for spring break? Our kids go on spring break the last week in February. I swear it's a conspiracy with the administration. They, for the last 30 years, they've had spring break like 2 weeks before every other college and university in the country. Yeah, like I said, they seem to have their spring break scheduled every year for the last 30 years. Because I went there as a student and now I work there. And I have been there for 32 years now. In some fashion, either as a student or as an employee. And every spring break has always been before everyone else's. You know, back in the day when they had MTV, and they would do the MTV spring break, and they show all the stuff, crazy stuff going on down in Florida and everything. No, we were back in school at that point. I swear it's a conspiracy to try to keep their name out of bad press. GoldenEye's birthday is today? Is that what you're telling me? Do we need to say happy birthday to GoldenEye? Do we need to send him birthday cake emotes? John Deere Simulations, my rule of thumb is to always load the map up initially with as little mods as possible activated. You can always add more, but always load the map up with as few mods as you absolutely must have, and then add things in as you are going to use them. Right? And I understand somebody will have 100 mods, 200, 300, 7,000 mods in their mod folder. And I understand 7 out of 10 times they'll load a map up and it'll be just fine and dandy with all 7,000 of their mods. At least they think everything's fine and dandy. But countless times I've heard people have issues. And they immediately blame giants, they immediately blame the game, they immediately blame poor optimization because of bad frame rates or performance. But I would say 9 times out of 10, you could probably associate those with the mods that they're using. And if they took the mods out, then what they're experiencing would also go away. I'm a very big proponent of understanding how things work before introducing mods. I heavily believe on understanding the base game mechanics. I heavily believe on understanding the map's mechanics before introducing other things. Because only after you understand the map's mechanics or the game's mechanics can you really understand and know, is something that I'm experiencing a bug with the game, a bug with a mod, or an interaction between the two that is producing undesirable results. Right? So that's why in my mod review playlist, my mod review folder, my mod test folder, I have literally 8 mods. I use Straw Harvest, I use additional game settings because I can't stand that little round circle that you get base game. I use easy dev controls so I can cheat in money and do things when I need to review a map. I use animal food overview because it allows me to pull up a nice table of what all the animals require on a given map to see at a quick glance if the animals require any custom food. I fire up precision farming so we can see the soil map. I use additional field info because that helps bring up additional info here on the screen. I will use field calculator because it helps show specific field sizes and information during the video. And I use the field lease screen because it also shows farmlands, farmland sizes, fields, and costs all in a nice table. So those all bring value adds to what I feel I can provide in the video, and that's why I use those mods. I use no other mods other than the DLCs when I look at a map. And all of those mods are fairly well vetted through years of use to not really cause issue. GoldenEye, thank you, sir. Thank you, and glad you're having yourself a good birthday. Tell you what, I prefer birthday cake. Ice cream cake is my preference to cake. And if I were to have cake, I like to have a buttercream icing. I'm not a big fan of sugar icing. Growing up, I would scrape sugar icing off a cake and just eat the cake. My mother baked cakes as a side job. She would do wedding cakes and other cakes. She went to the Wilton cake school, actually. And she made some pretty darn good cakes, I will admit. And she used buttercream icing. That was some good stuff there. That's the icing that needs to be refrigerated, right? If it gets too hot, well, it's made out of butter, so it will literally melt off the cake. Yeah, you mentioned that. You didn't have F1 menus up there. I've never run into that issue. So the only thing I could come up with is that it's some sort of mod conflict with something that you have enabled. I would suggest starting a new game save in a different slot with all of your mods disabled and see if it comes up. And if it does, then start adding mods in batches and basically see when it breaks. And then at least you'll know what batch has the mod that's causing the issue, and it'll help you narrow it down that way. When you do mod testing, I like to do the rule of halvesies. So take half your mods out and fire up the game and see if you have the same issue. If you do, all right, then you know it's probably in the half that you left in. Half that, and take half of those out, fire it up, see if you still have the issue. If you don't, well, then you know it's in the half that you just took out. Add half of those back in. Okay, and you just keep halving things until eventually you get it whittled down to a few. And then you can really start just adding 1 and 2 back in, taking 1 and 2 out until you narrow it down. I haven't gone to Dairy Queen in probably a year or longer. I've told this story before. You may have already heard it. But one time I went to Dairy Queen. You know how they flip the Blizzard? I love the Blizzards. They're awesome. At any rate, the poor girl, she didn't realize she had a cup in a cup. And she made her Blizzard, and she flipped it over, and obviously the cup fell out of the cup and went straight on the ground, and she just stared at it like, what just happened? Because she sees a cup on the ground. Yes, she's holding a cup, and it took her a while to figure out what happened. It was quite hilarious. So moral of the story is, if you are working at Dairy Queen, make sure you only have 1 cup in your hand before you flip it, because that other cup will definitely fall out. I don't know about... I've never used that John Deere sim because, well, I guess I'm old school and I'm an old guy, and I really don't trust anything like moving my mods around other than me. But if it works for you, that's great. I would say if I were to get an ice cream cake today, I'd just get it from the grocery store. We need to figure out which one of these bins has wheat in it. Ah, that one. Oh, so you're saying I could tell your computer to type all kinds of cool things? Like FARMER-KLEIN is the coolest dude in the world? Could I say print FARMER-KLEIN is the coolest dude in the world? And would it do that? I know Schultz hates it when I ask Alexa what to do things. Alright, I say, hey Google, what's the square root of pi? And then his TV starts talking to him. He hates it. Where is that handle? Oh, here it is. Well, Schultz just told me the answer. The other day, my kid was watching The Wizard of Oz at his after-school program, and I picked him up and said, "Dude, you know that movie's like 100 years old?" He said, "No, they didn't have movies 100 years ago." I said, "Yes, that movie's like 100 years old, dude." Then he was saying, "Was 100 years old in the 19s?" I said, "Yes." "Oh, okay, yeah, they had movies then." I'm like, "I told you they did." I said, "When we get home, why don't you ask Alexa, hey, how old is The Wizard of Oz?" And, well, as you all now know, it's 80-some years old. I think it was 86. So I was only off by 24 years. Yeah, I saw their message. It said to say something. So, I mean, I was saying stuff. You think I'm a trained monkey and I can just act on demand? Jeez, I've got to have motivation. Gold Gaming, what is up, sir? How's it going? Maybe it can dictate. Maybe it can dictate this. Have it dictate this ad, because we're going to talk about Apex Gaming computers. Oops, let's not do that. Go back. Apex Gaming computers and the FARMER-KLEIN YouTube channel have formed a partnership. We've had this partnership going on for a few months now. Well, the biggest thing of note right now is they have slashed their prices 30%. For the last several weeks, they have been offering 25% off, or actually for the last 2 months, they've been offering 25% off their normal prices. They have seen an increase in sales and an increase in basically interaction on their website, and as such, have felt that, you know what, 25% is not enough. Let's slice prices even more. So the prices are now 30% off what they were previously. I like the Homesteader configuration. We've got 3 configurations, from the low-end Yeoman to the high-end Rancher. Homesteader is priced out right now at $14.90. What do you get with that? Well, we're going to get down to that right here. For that $14.90, we have a 12400F 6-core processor, 120mm cooler, 16 gigs of DDR memory, a 4060 graphics card, 512 gig fast NVMe drive, 750 watt power supply, so you're going to have plenty of power there to upgrade your PC in the future. Yeoman, it's got a Ryzen processor, an Intel Arc 750 processor, still the same 512 gig NVMe and 16 gigs of RAM. Right now, I think the Rancher, I don't know if you get enough for the price. Like I said, I think the Homesteader is the sweet spot right there. You can go ahead and further customize the PC if you want. There's a link down in the description to Apex Gaming computers. Now we have tax season coming. Well, you know what? This might be a nice way to maybe give yourself a little bit of an upgrade to your farming simulator gameplay and other gameplay as well. Pot of coffee. You know what? I do not drink coffee. I think it's the foulest liquid on the face of the planet. But hey, more power to you. will also give you a little bit of warning. I am still recovering from a bout of bronchitis, and if I do go into a coughing fit, I do hope that I hit the mute button in time. If not, I apologize profusely. It is not my intention to be coughing in everyone's ears. But anyone that has ever had one knows that, well, your coughing fits can come on very, very fast and with little warning. Oh, Elk Mountain is a really nice map for multiplayer. Hopefully you're using GPortal for your server needs. Exclamation GPortal. If you're not, maybe give them a check. Check them out when your term is due on your current provider. GPortal offers 25 gigs of add-on mod space. Extremely fast servers. You could be up and running literally in less than 5 minutes from logging in and creating an account. Well, that is great news, Golden Gaming, or Gold Gaming. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Hellhawk. I was trying to figure out what Bug had, and then I was looking through the comments and I didn't see anything, so I've only deduced that she has the evil B word. John Deere Simulations is the biggest fan of the FARMER-KLEIN YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Go ahead and print 5 copies of that, please. I cannot stand splitting wood. I have made a vow to myself I would never split wood again. I'm not a former client. Sorry. That was close, but not quite. But hey, that's fun. Growing up, initially, we had to split all our wood with a splitting maul, right? Like a giant 14-pound triangle-shaped sledgehammer. Metal handle, welded to a metal splitting head. Oh, if you didn't hit that thing exactly square on, it just shot off to the side. I can't tell you how many of those handles we split at the weld, trying to split tough blocks of wood. And then, as I'm getting into high school, as I'm graduating high school and going to college, they get a pneumatic splitter. You know what that means? That means now we can split bigger logs. And while the pneumatic splitter did have an option to tilt it vertically, right? No, we're just going to leave it flat, horizontal, and we're going to make the kid, me, pick up these logs that are at least 2 feet in diameter, if not more, and set them on the bed as we split them. And then, of course, you know, you split it once, you got to take half the log back off. So then you split the rest of that log, and then you got to pick that half that log back up. Yeah. I cannot tell you how many times I moved the same piece of wood. But it was probably about 7 times too many. So I declared I would never ever heat my house with wood, and therefore I would never ever split wood again. Because we kept 3 houses in wood, and we also sold wood to all the other poor souls that had wood burning houses. We also had a garden that was full of rocks. And we probably had one of those, like, I don't know how many horsepower it was. Like a 12 horsepower Toro power tiller. Well, you can only imagine what a 12 horsepower power tiller does when it hits rocks. It has giant handles that wrap around your side and give you what I would call kidney blows. Yeah. That I also vowed against any garden ever. Yeah, that's what you do in rural Maryland in the late 80s and early 90s. You make them lift 2.5-foot diameter logs and till gardens with stones that cause the tiller to jump, and then, of course, it always jumps into your side. But you know, that's now. Oh. That's now multiple decades behind us. Ooh. Rocks was a new thing. Seasons being built in was a new thing. Rocks was the first thing I turned off. I did it. Then they updated the game and the rocks spawned at like twice as much as they ever used to. And I said, okay, I'm done with that. No more rocks. Production. I think between seasonal cycles and production, those are probably the two biggest things that were added in FS22. Other things were added, of course, but I think those were the biggest. Kind of the sleeper feature for me, and I can't really demonstrate it on this map because I haven't changed any of the fields, but one of the sleeper features for me when I discovered was that the PDA is dynamic, right? Like if we took all these trees out and I merged this together, you would see one continuous crop between here, right? It wouldn't delete this completely, but you would then have your brown field, right, show up where you created your field. Or if you got rid of this ditch and created a field through that ditch would kind of go away. And that was a cool feature when I discovered that. We were on Elm Creek. We were still doing our first playthrough on Farm Sim at that point. So we needed to decide, are we going to bale this wheat in round bales for our TMR, or are we going to bale this in square bales and make pellets out of it? Of course, if we make pellets out of it, we're just going to go straight to sale on it. We have no need to keep pellets around for any reason. Now, I prefer Seasons in 19. I felt it was more full featured. Hopefully we'll see a more featured Seasons in whatever comes next with respect to Farming Simulator. Oh, of course, we're running out of fuel. Schultz probably thinks we'll run out, but no, we're good. We're good. We won't have any issues. No issues whatsoever. Sorry, it's 9:00 p.m. and I'm expecting a freaking delivery. Can you imagine it? I would hate to be the DHL driver, quite frankly. To be out on the road at 9 p.m. local time delivering packages. Oh, that's not cool. But it said my package was out for delivery. This morning, the package was in Greensboro, North Carolina. And at 2 p.m., the package status changed from Greensboro, North Carolina, out for delivery. Except I live in Virginia. I'm like, no, there's no way. There is zero chance they are rolling a truck from North Carolina to Virginia to deliver a package. Well, I just looked at the map, and it says the driver is a couple stops away, and he's right down the street. That beeping John Deere Simulations is a mod called, I don't know, Fuel Warning or something like that. It basically beeps to annoy the living Jesus out of you because your fuel is running low. And the lower and lower our fuel gets, the more it will beep. But I'm going to finish this field and then we'll go fill up. So maybe if they follow the directions, I asked them to ring the doorbell when they drop the package off, because we have a Ring doorbell, and of course the Ring doorbell has a camera, and then that way if they dropped it off when we weren't at the house, we would at least have a notification as to when it was dropped off so we could see it, you know, on the camera. We don't really have an issue with package thievery around here, which is nice. But if you're lucky, you'll hear my doorbell ring through the mic, because it announces throughout all the house, through all the little A devices. I have only run so many things out of fuel, and I will say that some of the things I've run out of fuel, the actual hired helper has run it out of fuel, and when I go to get in it after he's done a job, it's empty. So that's not on me, that's on the hired helper. Because you may notice a helper will never ever run out of fuel. Ever. You will never see a hired helper stop in the middle of the field with an out of fuel notice. What you will have is a helper stop at the end of the job with a completely empty vehicle. Or if the helper gets turned around in some way and basically leaves the job, it might be completely empty of fuel. But the helper will never just stop in the middle of the field without fuel. The game won't allow it. Just like, technically, if you run something completely out of fuel, all you gotta do is save the game, exit, and come back in. The game gives you a little squirt. It's like a little mercy squirt. Here you go. You should have enough now to get back to the farm. What's up, Will? How's it going? How's Nebraska lands coming along? Are you gonna be ready come April? Is it going to be ready by April? Oh, now it's red. Now it's blinking. We're still good. You'll just have to put up with the beeping for a little bit. Well, I hope you're done by April, yeah. I just asked because, you know, we have National Farm Machine Show next Tuesday through Saturday. I'll be out of town. You're not going to have the map done by then. And then, of course, we have PAX East, the 20-something of April, or not April, of March, right? So I figured maybe on the outside chance you might have the map done between the two, but probably April's a safer bet. You know, I've never been able to get this drive your people around thing to work. Where is it at? This? I've never been able to get them to drive any place reliably. People ask, can you add to your map doors like can you get the people to drive from point A to point B and sell crops? I say no, because I can't get them to do it on a Giants delivered map with any reliability, so I can't really be able to reliably tell you if they will do it or not on a mod map. Slower is better, right? There's no reason to be all in a fast-paced world here. I was worried about that. Okay, we snuck around it. A little squirt, and then we're off to unload this bad boy. No, we're fine. Jeez, it's one more pass. One more pass. We'll make it a drinking game. If I run out of fuel, everyone has to drink an adult beverage. No. If I don't run out of fuel, you have to drink an adult beverage. If I run out of fuel, I don't have an adult beverage to drink. So I guess you get to drink no matter what. Get your adult beverages ready, because you're going to be drinking. That I can guarantee you. Raz is having a go at the Next Fest. If you aren't aware, Steam is having a Next Fest. That is where they offer thousands of demos of soon-to-be released or recently released games for players to download and try out at, of course, no cost. Typically, these are going to be indie-developed games, but not always. Here's you go check out your favorite genre over at Steam with respect to Next Fest. You might just find a hidden gem or two, or three, or a dozen. We saw Pacific Drive at PAX East last year. I didn't get to try it out. I thought it was an interesting concept. Of course, I was mostly drawn to it for its driving. I think Raz was drawn to it because it has zombies. Driving zombies is a very scary proposition. I'm waiting for the Uber simulator to come out, where you just pretend to be an Uber driver. The Dark One Gaming, welcome. I got it right this time. I got it right this time, did I not? You never know, you might get a zombie Uber driver. I didn't use Uber for the first time until I was at Boston last year at PAX. Man, man, they're expensive. I think we were taken to the cleaners because of the convention myself. This year I got a hotel that I think is right on the main bus path that goes by the convention center. So I plan on taking me and the kid again. And this time we're just going to ride the public bus to and from. Last year we had to trek it. We had to walk like 17 miles. It felt like 17 miles. I've seen a couple of farmish titles in the in Next Fest. Well, it was like 30. They wanted like $30 to take me literally like 2 miles, and I was like, "Are you serious?" Because our hotel was like a mile away. It wasn't bad. It was like up a street, you make a right after you go over a bridge, and you go over another bridge, and there's the convention center. But to like get a lift back, or to get a lift from the hotel to someplace down at the wharf area, which is just past the convention center, it was like $30 one way. All right, everybody get your drinks ready. Because we're about to make our way back to the farm and not run out of fuel. Prove all you naysayers. Because it was always listed as high demand. High demand time. You have an idea? A mod where we can have searching controls. So instead of looking for something, so for R, so we we're about, you can just search for controls. What do you mean, like search? Like a pop-up and you type in unload and then it tells you what button you push? Yeah, so of course, you know, when the convention's closing, right, it's suddenly high demand. Rates like go through the roof. Dinner time, high demand, rates go through the roof. Morning, right before the convention opens, high demand, rates go through the roof. Right? Lunch, oh, guess what? We're back up again. It's like, does it ever go down? For 4 days straight? Yeah, so like here. Yeah, I get you there, right? Like here. Like this giant list of stuff. Right? It's like, well, where is it? Jeez, right? Which section is it in? And it only gets even longer and longer the more mods you have that have key bindings. To have at the top where you could just search. Jeffrey the Man Gaming, thank you for the sub. If you're in chat, say hey, and we'll say howdy back. That is a guarantee. Ah, we made it back to the farm. We're good. We're good. We didn't run out of fuel. Look, I'll even be as cocky as to unload my harvestor. Then we'll get fuel. So that'll be fun. Oh, yes, I hit it. Well, not visually, but hey. Well, thank you, Sir Raznak. Although everything you see right here, that's as delivered. That's what we changed around. Well, that little shed, that's as delivered. But we put in the bins, we swapped that out. We cleaned up the trash down there. We put the greenhouses in and left the other areas gravel for us to have for bales. Alright, now it's filling. We'll probably run out of fuel in our trailer before we get that filled up. Sorry, I'm just checking the status of my delivery. Oh, it says it's here. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna go get it off the porch. Because it only is 9:22 p.m. after all. I'll be right back. I'll leave you guys staring at my fabulous half-destroyed set of bales. Welcome back, peeps. I've returned. All right, y'all are drinking up. In fact, I think you should double down. Drink both of them. Yeah, that's service. I like the service trailer that will supply depth, that will supply fuel, it will supply energy. What's awesome is what I got shipped from China on Monday, I think. And it's Thursday and it's here. I didn't get to see the driver. I didn't get to see the truck to see if it had North Carolina plates on it, but it's here. I've been talking recently. I've come up with a bad affliction, and I need to get some help. I probably need a 20-step process. And my addiction has been I can't stop buying things from China that's cheap. And I'm hoping my trip to the farm show maybe gets me out of this buying cheap electronics from China rut. Because you know, at some point it gets really expensive, even to buy cheap stuff. Unless you use exclusively women math. And if you use women math, I'm actually earning money. Because every dollar I save is a dollar in my pocket. No, Will, I'm buying stuff off of AliExpress. Questionable stuff that may or may not be, you know, counterfeit. Like I just bought two for $50. Okay, I bought two 8 gig M.2 drives. Well, if you look online, an 8 gig M.2 drive is like hundreds of dollars. I got it for $50. It's supposedly a Western Digital, but the label doesn't say WD, it says DW for Dale Waltrip. At least that's the only thing I know of that starts with a DW. No, I'm sorry, 8 terabytes. I meant to say 8 terabytes. Not 8 gig, 8 terabytes. No, I would never buy an 8 gig W2 drive. That would be stupid. Although I did supposedly buy for $14 a 14 terabyte USB drive. We'll see what shows up. For $5 a pop, I bought two micro 2 terabyte flash drives. 8 terabytes for $50 each. Yep. I'm not going to tell you where I got them from, other than AliExpress, until I get them and can vouch that they're actually legit. It's supposed to be a Gen 4 drive. Well, Farmer G, that's the thing, right? That's the thing. You never know. It's part of the thrill. I've got a 32 gig. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I bought a 1 terabyte micro SD card. You know, the thing that's smaller than your thumbnail? Well, that wasn't big enough, so I bought two terabyte micro SD cards today. They were $4 a pop. Let's see what they show up for. I either saved thousands of dollars or I bought $250 worth of trash. That's part of the excitement, and I won't know until I get back from the farm show. I will tell you a funny story. I said to start a stream. I got a mini PC in last night and was working on it. That's why I got started late on recording that video. But I was working on that, and it has two M.2 slots. They're supposedly Gen 4 drives, or Gen 4 slots. And I had one Gen 4 drive on hand, and I had a Gen 3 drive on hand. So I thought, oh, well, aren't these slots are supposed to be backwards compatible, right? So I put the Gen 4 drive in, I put the Gen 3 drive in a different slot. Turned the thing on, it was slow as snot. Like, it would take minutes to boot just past the BIOS screen. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Did I get taken to the cleaners? Well, after I got Windows 10 started on it, or Windows 11, I took it apart and I took the Gen 3 drive out. And as soon as I did that, boom, lickety split. It was faster than snot running out your nose. So I had thought you could put an older Gen drive in a newer Gen slot. But not on this thing. It demands a Gen 4 drive. Okay, what are we going to do? I want your all's advice. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 20, 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9. We got like 24 straw bales here. I can make 24 loads of TMR. I go through about 2 loads of TMR a day. Maybe, sometimes 3. That's 3 loads of TMR. I might have a year's worth of straw here. Because I might have 12 days worth of straw. I sure as shit have enough hay bales for over a year. I go through 2 straw silage bales every load. Those are for poop. I can't use those for TMR. I think I need to make more round bales. I think it's too risky. I'm willing to run out of fuel, but I'm not willing to run out of straw. Alright, yes, we're gonna use this. Because why not? Alright, I asked for your advice and I decided not to take it. You should always be careful, John Deere Sims, on buying any electronics from anywhere. There is right now, legit, there is a big ordeal about some boutique Chinese computer manufacturers shipping infected PCs to unsuspecting customers right now. It's pretty hot and heavy on YouTube because some reviewers were shipped. Are you serious? You're gonna ship reviewers malware infected computers? How freaking stupid can you be? Any rate, some reviewers got some malware infected machines. Seriously put some big time risk on their entire operation. Well, at any rate, of course they went public. And of course the company claims that they're doing something to have better quality control. What I would do on anything, flash drives, any storage medium, plug it into a computer that you don't care about. that is not connected to the internet and immediately wipe it. Immediately wipe it. And then plug it into a legit machine. The machine I got last night had no OS on it, had no hard drive in it. I supplied my own hard drive. I put my own OS on it. But not everybody is able to do that. Not everybody has the skill set to do that. So, you know, it's sadly, sometimes it's buy things at your own risk. If you're going to get from some of these kind of boutique places. So here we have the Krone round baler from the straw harvest pack. We have the net wrap add-on enabled, right? That was listed as a known conflict. Well, you can see down here in the lower right, I have a fill type for net wrap. Well, that's the top one for the net wrap add-on mod. And then I have a fill type for the net wrap that's part of straw harvest. That's the middle column. And of course the bottom column is showing my fill type of straw. So in this case I had to fill this twice with net wrap in order to get it to work. So I've got 3 PCs coming from China. All 3 are bare bones systems. They have no drives, no RAM in them. I need to provide my own RAM, my own drives. Any drives I'm getting from China, I'm going to plug into a basically throwaway machine that I don't really care if anything happens to it. And it's going to be not connected to the wireless, not connected to the network at all. I'm going to wipe those drives as soon as I plug them in, reformat them. The M2 drives that I'm buying, I'll plug them in. And basically boot them straight into Windows and make sure that they don't have any partitions on them. Well, I mean, you may not know it. Every Apple computer is made in China. Every Apple device is Chinese manufactured. iPhones, those little earbuds, iPods if they still make them, the smartwatches, iMacs, MacBooks, everything that comes straight out of China. It's the sad state of the American industry. We are not a manufacturing industry anymore. We are a design and engineering industry, if anything. We buy Dell systems of work. I buy hundreds of Dell computers every year for work. And most of them are built in Mexico. They are manufactured in China and built in Mexico. That's what they have on the box. Now, I don't really have a problem with buying stuff that was built in Mexico. Yeah, that's at least the same side of the continent or the same side of the globe. Now there is a big push with all the COVID shortages that we had back in 22 and such. There is a big push to get some chip fabs in Europe and America, but that's a multi-year manufacturing construction project. Those chip fabs aren't going to come online until 2027, probably at the earliest. Now, I've heard some people with drones, they if you have a 3D printer, you can like reprint replacement parts depending on what broke. I've never done 3D printing. I think it's kind of an interesting thing to get into. Dell did kill Alienware when they bought them, and now they're just glorified high-end Dell desktops. They make fine business machines. I wouldn't necessarily buy them for a personal machine. I tell you what, I've got a Lenovo laptop that I bought here at the house. I think that thing is fabulous. It's an aluminum chassis. It's robust. It's got some nice heft to it. It doesn't feel plasticky because it's not plastic at all. I've been really happy with it. I would recommend Lenovo laptops to someone as a personal purchase. I would not recommend a Dell laptop for an individual buying person. Like I said, they make fabulous business class machines. They're consumer class machines. It's a race to the bottom dollar. It's a race to the thinnest plastic to get the job done. Now the ROG Zephyrus. Oh, that's sweet. It's a smaller screen. I wanted a 16-inch screen. But the ROG Asus Zephyrus, I think it's Asus ROG. That is a sweet, thin, powerful machine. But I've got a Lenovo 7 something. It's an all AMD build. I got it last April, so about a year ago. I had a Tough. Who makes Tough? Is that Asus as well? I had an Asus Tough laptop that I gave my youngest, sorry, to be his first gaming computer. That was my old laptop. That had a it has a 2060 in it. It has an AMD 5000 chip in it. 16 gigs of RAM. That thing's still a decent workhorse. But I wanted an upgrade. And after PAX East last year, I realized that like 3% of the games at PAX East would ever come out on Switch. That's his gaming platform at that point. So like, you know, I gotta get this kid into PC gaming. So I saw that as a way to do it. Raphael, good night. I hope you're saying good night as in welcome. Although we do have just about another 15 minutes to go before we're going to hang it up for our night. I think the Tough Line is more of their entry level, lower price. It's all plastic chassis, you know. It's got a lighter feel to it. I'm absolutely terrified at the charging cord on that thing, because the charging cord comes out and makes a 90-degree turn, and then the brick is like heavy, and I just keep seeing like the brick fall and basically rip that 90-degree power plug out of the plug and snap the PCB off, and it's done. It'll never charge again. That's my biggest fear with that laptop. So he uses it on a dining room table, and I literally have the charger wrapped up on a chair next to it, so there's no way that power brick can fall. Now, do you know if the laptop died or did it just power brick die? We've had plenty of chargers go out. Easy way to test it is if you have a multimeter. Just take your multimeter probes and touch the inside and the outside of the plug, and you should have 19 volts coming out of that plug DC. If you don't have any 19 volts coming out of the plug DC, then the charger's no good. If you do have 19 volts coming out and it's still not charging, then it's probably the battery or the charging circuit on the board. Yeah, I picked up that Tough in right during the COVID times to be a work at home laptop. And I used it for that, and of course I had intention of using it when I was on the road for gaming and other content creation, right? Raphael, let's just say that if I were to count the decades, they would start with a 5. In fact, I've got my mind set. I need to make a new shirt, and I want to put on there. I want to put gamer for life, and then I want to have some sort of gaming graphic on it, and then I'm going to have a number, decades and counting, right? So it'll be like 5 decades and counting. 4 decades and counting, 3, 2, 1, 0. And I'm going to make a shirt for me, and I'm going to make a shirt for my kid. And we'll have kind of matching shirts for when we go to PAX. So his will say 1 decade and counting because he's 10. Mine will say 5. And then I'm wearing right now my latest merch design that I published, called I Play for the Chill, Not the Thrill. And I made him a design that says I play for the thrill, not the chill. Let me see if I can pull it up. Encourage you to go check out the merch shop. We got tons of merch, all types of different designs and products. Something for everyone. Here's a sticker I made for him. It's the play for the thrill, not the chill. And then I've got the, of corresponding play for the chill versus the thrill. And we got shirts, we got mugs, we got other things. I'm rather proud of mine. I'd rather be farming. I've got a cheesy tractors make me smile. It's like a tractor like this. A little bit old school tractor like that. And it just says makes me and then has a giant cheesy smile underneath of it. Well, that would not be a good thing to do, John Deere. Water and laptops do definitely not mix. I was thinking about making a shirt that was about generations of console, right? Like how many generations of console are you? So I played on a Commodore 64, not when they were retro, like when they were legit the thing, right? I played with an Atari when they were the legit thing, you know, the one with the stick and the button. We had an Intellivision at the house, NES, Sega, Super Nintendo, Sega CD, the original PlayStation, the original Xbox, and then PC, and then we have a Wii and a Switch. So it's like, you know, how many generations of console are you? But then I morphed that into just, you know, gamer for life, and then how many decades. I thought that was a little bit easier. And I looked it up. So the very first thing that is classified as a video game is something that was created in 1958. I think I put that on the Discord the other day. So I think technically, right, gaming goes all the way back to 1958. So we have 68, 78, 98, 68, 78, 88, 98, 08, 18. So we're up to 6. We're working on 28. So we're between our 6th and 7th decade of gaming, of computer games existing in some fashion or manner. Well, you know, the 1660 Ti is a perfectly fine card that still gets the job done. You may have to run some things on lower settings, but it still gets the job done. We had, so I had a girlfriend back in college. She had been given an old 386 by some family member. I remember playing Monopoly on this thing. You had to hit the turbo button, but you didn't hit the turbo button to speed it up. You hit the turbo button to slow it down, because you know the CPU. It was a game written for like the 286. So if the CPU was too fast, like the computer turn would go so fast you couldn't see what's going on. So you had to unturbo it. And then at college we had 486s that were running MS-DOS and Windows 3.1. Oh, those are an absolute pain in the butt to network, by the way. I remember being at a computer lab. We were testing Windows 95, like, you know, before it was Windows 95. Boy, that was a jump from Windows 3.1. I'll tell you that. So, I don't know if you all know about this, but there is a massive upswelling to conserve these old DOS games and old Windows games. And search EXO-DOS, EXO-DOS. There's this really great effort going on to archive this stuff from the 80s and early 90s. And this guy has basically taken it upon himself to get these old games working on modern systems using DOSBox and other DOS type emulations. And who knows how much time and effort him and some other volunteers have put in to basically configuring these things so they run near out of the box as possible. He's found manuals and scanned the manuals in, box art, screenshots, populated out a metadata database on all these games. He's archived like magazines and books from that era also. EXO-DOS, it's definitely worth going and checking out. And you can download his collection and run it. And apparently it's a free will donation thing. If you like the project, you can donate money. He uses the money to buy old games off of eBay when they come up for sale to add to the collection. And at this point, this stuff is so well beyond print, and a lot of these publishing houses have long vanished, right? So, you know, the intellectual rights to this stuff, it's basically orphanware. And he's doing it under the auspices of protecting it and archiving it and making it playable for those that played them originally and discoverable for those that weren't around. I will tell you though, if you download his entire archive, you're going to need like a 2 terabyte drive in order to hold it all uncompressed, and you better have at least 45 minutes to an hour to run the decompression scripts. Oh, Windows ME, that was a horrible thing. We just want to pretend ME didn't exist. I would tell parents that Windows Vista was a virus and to not buy a computer with Windows Vista on it, because it was a massive performance virus. The same thing with Windows XP would run so much better. And then Windows 10 came out as a savior to XP. Not a savior to XP, a savior from Vista. That was after the Windows 8 debacle. Let's forget about that. No, Windows 7 was after Vista, sorry. Microsoft has a great TikTok schedule. Sorry about that. They have a great TikTok schedule. They'll have a very, very good release OS. Then they'll release something that's complete trash. And then they'll release something good again. And then the next thing will be complete trash. And then good, and then trash. Good, trash. So yeah. 7 was good, 8 was trash, 10 was good. Technically there was an 8.1. But it was just like what 8 should have been. But by then no one really cared. 11 really doesn't count, it's more like 10.5. And then supposedly we're going to get 12 here soon. Even though 10 was supposed to be the last OS ever to be released. I wouldn't mind Windows 11 so much if they wouldn't force me to have my taskbar at the bottom. I like using widescreen monitors, and I like my start menu on the left. The left side of the screen. Not justified left on the bottom. I want it on the left side. Well, I found this fabulous GitHub repository where this guy is making this application that lets you Windows 10ify 11. And I now have my taskbar on the left. And it's outstanding. Telgar, yes, I am enjoying Straw Harvest. Now, if you caught some previous live streams or some archives of the previous live streams where we were suffering from Straw Harvest issues, those were 100% mine. I was actually using a pre-release Straw Harvest that had known bugs and didn't realize it. But we had updated that since the last live stream and Paul as well. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're not careful, right, your system will auto-update. The orange bands on the bales are the NetWrap add-on. So NetWrap add-on makes unique bales. So we have both enabled. We have NetWrap and Twine add-on. So here we have NetWrap add-on. Basically, it adds a fill type to all the base game balers of NetWrap. And then there are different brands of NetWrap, and each brand has different colored bandings. Okay? So, for example, here is a Kloss wrapped grass bale, and here is a John Deere wrapped grass bale, and then we have a Kuhn, Kuverland, Massey Ferguson, Hottinger, Vicon. Then we can get a black grass bale, right? So then we have all types of different bales, all types of different sizes. And it just adds a consumable fill type to the balers, both round bales and square bales. And then And then Straw Harvest comes out, and Straw Harvest also has that concept of net wrap entwined that you can either auto load or manually load. So there is we'll say a conflict, for lack of a better term, with these balers if you have the net wrap add-on. So I have to fill my baler with both forms of wrap in order for them to work. And I get these nice custom looking bales. Well, I can't take the net wrap add-on out because all my custom bales will vanish. And I have hundreds of these bales. So I just have to live with it. I think it's because it's slang for a derogatory word in a certain language. And I think if you maybe have a particular accent, it may come out sounding more derogatory. I have never run into problems with it. I know other people have. I don't shy away from saying it, but I don't try to say it every other word either. So you may watch when I do videos and we run across a coon baler. I may just read off the model number and not mention the brand. And then sometimes I will just say that brand name just for funsies. But I've never run into an issue with YouTube trying to censor any of my videos because I said that. And if they did, I would dispute it immediately and basically tell them, why don't you go watch it? And you'll see under what context I say that word. And you'll realize that I'm simply stating the manufacturer brand name and therefore have no derogatory intentions. And DJ, if he filed a claim, it would get taken away. It would be stricken as not a problem within 24 hours. I have filed claims with YouTube on so many things, and I have won every single one of them. In 17, in Farm Sim 17, I was hit with probably 20 copyright hits because I had sounds of seagulls in my gameplay because I was playing on an Irish map that was based on an island, and it had very loud seagulls in certain parts of the island. And there was there still is, I assume, this weird folk artist whose songs were basically listed on YouTube as basically copyright material, and YouTube's algorithm would listen and it would hear those birds and it would decide that I was playing this guy's song. Well, YouTube has this really great mechanism where when they file a claim like that, you can go listen to the particular part of your video that is being dinged, and then they will list the song that it is being dinged against. So I listened to the clip and it was just a whole bunch of seagulls. So then I go dig up this guy's song and I listen to it, and it's just absolute trash. I don't know what the hell it is other than folk screaming and noise, but there's a section where it has seagulls in it. And I said, oh hell no. And I submitted a claim to YouTube, and I said, first, this guy has no rights to the sounds of nature. He cannot copyright the sounds of wild birds. And, you know, the Bee movie had just come out, or had been out. I had watched it with my kids. And, you know, the Bee movie got, you know, they got a little segment where they where they sue humans for you know, doing things with their honey. So I'm like, if anything, the seagulls, if they had a lawyer, should claim prior art on their sounds and sue this guy and the recording industry that is claiming to have copyrighted those recordings, which are simply recordings from the ocean. So, needless to say, that claim was removed. And every other claim against any episode that had birds in it was, of course, stricken by their automated system, and I immediately copied and pasted that. And every single one of those was removed. We used to do live streams of Assetto Corsa. And suddenly I get hit with copywriting official esports live streams of Assetto Corsa races because my in-car perspective basically was the same as their in-car perspectives going down the same track. Excuse me? Heaven forbid that my Barcelona race looks similar to someone else's Barcelona race. I mean, after all, it is the same track. Well, what was ironic on that one is the video that I supposedly took the content from. Well, it was only made 3 months after my video was streamed. So I copyrighted content that didn't exist yet. How is that possible? That got removed pretty dang quick. Fight it, you're almost guaranteed to win. Because they use like zero logic. It's all bots. Alright, so we filled up with that wrap. And I think the other wrap is still at the place. That's what I put. Honestly, that is what I put in my argument. It's like, if anything, mine came before them. It was quickly taken down or reversed. I've had copyright, not me copywriting material, but notices saying, hey, we think someone else is copywriting your stuff. It's fine. It's great when YouTube does that. So I've gone and looked, and it's people were publishing Assetto Corsa races. I'm like, this is not my stuff. So I just say, it's fine. It's fine. That Schultz was very bad behavior. I don't know anything firsthand, but if from what I heard was correct, that was very bad behavior and quite despicable. And now that we have filled this up in that wrap twice, we go back to baling. But we are done for the night. I want to thank you all for coming out and watching. It's always great to hang out and chat with you guys. We chat about all types of things. And that's what I think makes our live streams chill and relaxing. We don't focus only on talking about farm sim content. Right? I let you all lead the chat for the most part. And really it comes down to whatever you all want to talk about. I might know a little bit about something. So, until next time, that's an interesting artifact down there on that left wheel. Y'all see that flashing down there? I just see that now. At any rate, tomorrow night is Friday night. We will hopefully be doing Friday Night Wreckfest over on our secondary channel, FK's Funhouse, Explanation FK's Funhouse. We'll give you a link to that channel if you are not a subscriber. I will be live streaming Wreckfest, assuming Giants does not drop a map tomorrow. That is always a great time. We have lots of folks from the Discord and from chat show up and participate in our Wreckfest nights. I've got a server from GPortal. Right now it's got 10 slots, but trust me, if I ever need to upgrade it, I will upgrade it as soon as I need to in order to make sure that we have enough slots for anyone that wishes to participate. And with that, happy farming.